Hello, hello. My name is Lisa Ashley and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is doing good today. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. Almost done with the week. Thank goodness. There's actually like a community pride this weekend in St. Louis. I'm really excited for that. But today we are going to be talking about Trump being called a communist dictator because we live in hell. And then we're also going to talk about we're going to talk about Trump versus Tylenol and the UN and just all the insane things that he has been saying lately. And then we're also going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel coming back, my thoughts on that, and like free speech and stuff like that. So let's get into it. But before we do, please remember to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications and all the things to help me grow. So yeah, let's go. Let's get into it. All right. So first, we are going to talk about Trump versus Tylenol because it's quite funny. It's quite funny. So I am excited to watch that. But basically, Trump the other day came out and was like on a warpath against Tylenol. And this is all coming after he gave RFK a deadline to figure out what is going on with autism, insinuating that autism is like there's something wrong with being autistic, which there is not. Kind of trying to make you believe that there's like a cure to neurodivergency and autism and stuff like that. And, I have ADHD. I've mentioned that a few times and I struggle a lot. Okay. Always have. And, I only recently got diagnosed, but the reason that it feels like numbers have gone up in autism or neurodivergency or ADHD or what have you is because we understand it's easier for us to diagnose now. And before, they just didn't diagnose it as much because they didn't understand as much, especially in women, especially in those, especially in young girls, because I feel like young boys get that a lot, tend to get the ADHD, at least diagnosis, much more than younger girls. And so sometimes it's hard for people to get diagnosed, mainly because of the stigma. And unfortunately, saying that Tylenol gives people autism is really bad for the stigma. So, anyway. So we're going to listen to Trump and first here, okay, we're going to listen to what he has wrong with it. And then we'll listen to him not being able to say acetaminophen because, anyway. All right. Also, I'm going to share my screen and I'm sorry if it was kind of echoey last time. I fixed it, so I apologize. All right. So let's get into it. All right. Okay, so I think it's this video. Yes, okay.
First, effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen.
Okay, we're going to watch that again after this. But that was my favorite part of the whole thing. There's other funny parts, but that was my favorite part of the whole thing because here is this man who's trying to tell people not to take a certain medication, which he is not a doctor, neither is RFK, neither of them know what they're talking about. And they just come up here and they're telling people what to do without their credentials, and then he can't even pronounce it. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. Oh God, it's truly insane. Truly insane.
Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol. During pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good. For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever. And by the way, I think I can say that there are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any pills that have no autism.
That is not true. That's not true. Just a lie. That's not true. Not true at all.
That have no autism. Does that tell you something? That's currently. Is that a correct statement, by the way?
No, it's not. No, it's not a correct statement. Okay, it's not a correct statement. Also, the other thing is basically what they're doing is they are demonizing the one freaking medication that women who are pregnant can take when they have high fevers or pain or whatever, because all of the other like acetaminophen products I think they can't use. And so Tylenol is like the only one that they can use, and there has been numerous studies on this, tons of studies on this, and yet he's like, no, don't take Tylenol. God, I just want to lose my mind. We're going to do one more thing though. I want to watch him say that again, not be able to say acetaminophen again. Cuz it's quite funny. Okay. It's quite funny. All right. So, let's watch that. Oh. Whoops, sorry. Man, all the little slip-ups today. Okay.
First, effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of well, let's see how we say that.
Well. Oh my God, this is so funny. I love this so much. It's quite funny.
Acetaminophen.
This is the guy that everyone wants to be like, he's a smart businessman. He's so smart. Oh my gosh. Are we sure? This is so funny to me.
Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying that, like, he was saying Tylenol just because he couldn't say acetaminophen. And so I think that's true. I think he just kept saying acetaminophen and not Tylenol. And I don't know if Tylenol's going to sue him or not. I think they should, honestly. I hope they do. They should. Because to use Tylenol like over and over and over again instead of saying because he doesn't want to say acetaminophen is wild to like target Tylenol.
Pregnancy can be
and say that it like causes autism is insane.
Be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol.
Dr. Oz is in the back just nodding his head. Oh God.
Is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good.
There was another part where he said, I forgot what he said, but it was like, I forgot what it said. I don't remember what he said, but it was like, no good, all good here, or I forgot what he said, but it was like, it did not make any sense at all what he said. No, that's hilarious. Words are hard. Good thing we don't have to use them to work as the president. Also, autism and being diagnosed with autism literally happened before Tylenol ever existed. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just so stupid. It's so dumb. But Trump is not just, well, actually, let's see. Okay. I don't know. I was trying to see if Twitter had, actually I found the video that I have of it. Let's see. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so actually, there's actually a video of what I was saying. So he says, nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. Okay.
Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. But with Tylenol, don't take it. Don't take it. And if you can't live, if your fever is so bad, you have to take one because there's no alternative to that.
Yeah,
Sadly.
exactly. And I feel like this is just another way that they're going to try to blame women, because in some states, having a miscarriage is already becoming like a legal problem. And there have been people who've been arrested for like miscarriages or whatever. And I didn't mean to put miscarriages in quotations. I'm sorry. But like, there have been women who've been like arrested for things like this. And I think that they're like, if this happens, if a woman, not just a woman, but if someone who can get pregnant has, like, if someone who can get pregnant takes Tylenol and then there's something happens at the baby, what if the law now, what if now they're like, oh, well, this is your fault, child endangerment? Or what if someone who can get pregnant gets sick, doesn't take Tylenol, and then loses their baby? I feel like they're going to try to start coming after people who can get pregnant. I feel like this is a direct attack on that, which is wild coming from the party that's always like, oh, we want you to have babies. We want everyone to have babies, da 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 da. But yet, at every single turn, they seem to want to demonize and want to continue to go after people who can get pregnant and just have so many rules and regulations on them and not give them the proper care or resources to actually have a healthy baby and have a healthy life after that. And it's crazy. It's crazy that they're the ones who are like, we want you to have more babies. And then they're probably going to start going after people who take Tylenol when they're pregnant or don't. Like I said, there have been cases where women have had miscarriages and they've been literally like arrested, or they've gotten like I don't know if it's just an abortion, but like there are women who have gotten arrested or gotten in trouble for things like that, and it's wild. And so I think this is going to make that worse, and it's actually terrifying, really, truly. Yeah. So to all the white women who think that all this stuff doesn't ever affect you. It will, because this stuff is going to affect you. This craziness, this anti-intellectualism will affect you, will affect everyone, negatively. All right, let's go back to the funny part, though.
Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen.
Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. Oh, man, I can't. It's so funny. It's so funny. Wait, okay, sorry. It's my outline. Overturn Roe v. Wade so we will have more babies. Oh, I didn't realize that was one of the trolls. Oh. No, I am a white woman. Okay, no, sorry, this is a troll. Yeah, no, I am a white woman. That's what I'm saying. Other white women who advocate for Trump or for his policies tend to advocate against their own interest. That was my point. They tend to advocate against their own interest because things like this end up harming them in the long run as well, and that's what happens. And so, yeah. All right. All right. Well, now that we've talked about that, I tried to find Tylenol. What was it? I tried to find Tylenol on Twitter, but I don't know if this is the real Tylenol. I don't think it is. It has a check mark, but they could have just paid for that. And it says like Tylenol USA, so I don't think that's real. But someone obviously made like a Tylenol page and says heavy is the head that wears the crown. And then, oh shit, here we go again. So I thought that was funny. There's another one. But I can't find it. Okay. So next we are going to be talking about Trump versus the UN. So first, this week has been crazy. Trump has gone against Tylenol, number 1, and then number 2, he's going against the UN for really stupid reasons. So apparently, when he was at the UN, he was given a speech. he ended up, the escalator ended up stopping when him and Melania got on. And, which is really funny. And, they like went on a tear, like literally the right wing went on a tear. I'm going to show you how they responded. It's absolutely ridiculous how they responded to the escalator stopping. And then the teleprompter stopped working as well. And so then he had like the most unhinged speech at the UN. And there were people there were like world leaders there who were like laughing, and I was like, why are you laughing? This man is unhinged. Stop it. He's unhinged. Like, what he's saying is unhinged. And so it's just crazy. And so we're going to watch that right now. Oh God, I swear I can never get my stuff together. Okay. We're going to watch him and Melania try to get on the escalator, and then it stops.
It's President Trump.
All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's...
He just didn't want to walk up it. I don't blame him, but I just don't think he wanted to walk up it. Yeah, so he was mad because the escalator stopped when him and Melania got on it, and then so the teleprompter also stopped, and everyone's like losing their minds over an escalator and a teleprompter. And it turns out there have been reports that it was actually his team that messed it up. Oh, looky there. Wow, what a shock. What an absolute shock. I am shocked. Okay, let's watch that again. Wait, okay, then we're going to watch it again.
What happened with Chuck Schumer?
Are you going to push Zelensky for peace, President Trump?
Look, she wants nothing to do with it, man.
All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the two things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble.
I mean, I guess I'm laughing, but did you hear them laughing in the UN? I'm like, bro, this is supposed to be serious. This is supposed to be serious, and y'all are laughing at this crazy man, at this unhinged man that told them that all of their countries are going to hell. Yeah, so that's the escalator saga, the great escalator saga of 2025. Oh my God. And then, okay. And then the right wing literally lost their minds on this. Jesse Waters is like threatening. Here, we're going to watch it. Jesse Waters wants to bomb the UN because the escalator didn't work. Okay. Okay. Like really unhinged shit here. Okay. All right, let's listen to this.
What's going on with the escalator? What do you think?
Yeah, they sabotaged them.
Yeah.
And they could have hurt the First Lady.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Trump would have fallen and he would have gotten back up. But, you know,
They would have blamed it on
Wait. Oh my God, okay. So Trump would have fallen and gotten back up. Wait, okay. Sorry, it sounded low. Trump would have fallen and gotten back up, which is funny because I don't think that's true. Melania wouldn't have. I think she would have. I think she would have not had a problem getting back up at all. And to be like, oh, it was sabotage. Bro. Like everything's a conspiracy. Everything's a conspiracy. They're always the like Trump is always the victim. It's always a conspiracy. They're always the victim. Like Jesus Christ.
his rhetoric.
And then they sabotage the teleprompter.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an insurrection.
Oh my God.
And what we need to do is
They're so like, I just don't understand. Questions loom after escalator abruptly stops for Trump. Oh my God. Oh, it's a tragedy.
either leave the UN or we need to bomb it. It is in New York, though, right?
Yeah,
There could be some fallout there.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Worry. What's going on with the
Like, oh God, it's just so stupid. And like, I know this is like a lib thing where it's like, oh, like I know I understand that he was like kind of being satire, but it is just like frustrating that everybody else on the left gets called like this violent terrorist. We're just so violent extremists. And you have Jesse Waters over here saying crazy shit on a daily basis. On a daily on Fox News. You have people like Brian Kilmeade saying that we should kill unhoused people, like, and nothing, no one cares. No one is like, oh, the rhetoric, oh, tone it down. Truly just so maddening on every single level. Okay. All right. So now let's see. There's Steve Bannon had a take on this too. Oh, okay. So, let's go to his. Okay. So, let's see. Okay, Caroline Levitt. This is Caroline Levitt's response. If someone at the UN intentionally stopped the escalator as the president and first lady were stepping on, they need to be fired and investigated immediately. The Times reported this on Sunday. To mark Trump's arrival, UN staff members have joked that they may turn off the escalators and elevator to simply tell him they ran out of money so he can walk up the stairs. Oh, it's actually kind of funny. And then, okay, we'll look at that in a second. Okay, let's see what.
It's shocking. Another security breach. This is not the Secret Service problem.
Wait. We gotta start over. Let's see what Steve Bannon. Let's see how Steve Bannon is reacting to this. I'm sure it's not unhinged at all. I'm sure this is just like totally normal.
Video. It's shocking. Another security breach. This is not the Secret Service problem, but another security breach right there. Of course, Gateway's always getting the buried lead. And the escalator, as soon as he steps on it, it stops. Come on, man. It's ridiculous. And as soon as I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the reporting says the teleprompter worked for Lula and the others. President Trump gets up there. He says right when he gets up there, the teleprompter's not working. I got to read this. But I'll give it from the heart, which I'd rather him just give it from the heart than re-prepare remarks.
I mean, he sounded insane. Like, he sounded unhinged when he was going from the heart, but sure, okay.
It's not, listen, there are no coincidences. They're trying to mess with him. Afterwards, the Bolsonaro guys told me when Bolsonaro's there, because Brazil traditionally always goes first. They were supposed to have a car service pick him up and his security, and they never sent it. He had to hustle up.
Okay, so then was what happened to the French President Macron, was that staged? I mean, he could have done it on purpose. So Macron came there for the UN, I forgot what day it was, but he had to walk through New York City for like 30 minutes because Trump's motorcade was blocking everything. So he couldn't even go by. You had police officers like apologizing to him, being like, we're so sorry. Oh my God. And like he seemed like, he seemed to not care. He kept walking and people were taking pictures with him and everything. But like, it was just like wild because that's a security risk too. Like, what are you saying? But one of the funny memes that came out of that was like, he walked through New York City for 30 minutes and was completely safe. Oh, looky there. It's my favorite one. Oh my God. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm just choosing to ignore them. I'm just choosing to ignore that person. Okay. So that was Steve Bannon's response. And then let's see. That was Tylenol. That's okay. This is all other stuff that we're gonna look at. All right. So, now let's look at his UN speech highlights, because like we were talking about, he didn't have a teleprompter. So he was just going from the heart. He was just saying whatever came to his mind, which is usually insane shit.
This is indeed the golden age of America. What is the purpose of the United Nations? The UN has such tremendous potential. I've always said it. It has such tremendous, tremendous potential, but it's not even coming close to living up to that potential. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen.
It reminds me of like those shirts, those like tourist shirts that say, I went to this place and all I got was this lousy shirt. That's what it reminds me of. I went to the UN and all I got was an escalator that didn't work.
But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. The number one political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled.
Oh my God, this is where I get like mad because it's not funny anymore. So and I think this is the reason why he told all these other countries that he was going to go to hell, that they were going to go to hell. He literally said that all these other countries are going to hell. He's like, your countries are going to go to hell. Because again, we live in hell. We live in hell. The rapture didn't happen because we all just live in hell. But he's telling all these other countries that, oh my gosh, there's going to be a crisis of migration and all this other kind of stuff. And it's really frustrating because all of these European countries, 9 times out of 10, are the reason. Not just European countries, but like Western countries, definitely including America, are the reason that there's a lot of immigration to other places. Because, like, I'll just give you one instance. Right now, we are illegally bombing. We're committing war crimes. We are illegally bombing ships, just like some fishing ships, just like regular ships, boats and whatever, in Venezuela, okay? And they have done this like 3 times by now. They've killed a bunch of different people, and they want to start a war with Venezuela. They want to have regime change in Venezuela. And we keep doing things like this. And then immigrants obviously come over here because we keep making their countries unstable. And then we're like, oh, I don't know why everyone comes over here. Because we make their countries unstable. Because we sit here and we try to meddle with their shit because we want their resources. And then you want to complain that they're coming over here and actually making our society better. It's so insane. Like, it drives me crazy because, European countries are also becoming fascist as well. They're starting to veer over in that lane as well. But, this anti-immigration sentiment is becoming popular, not just in the U.S., but in other places abroad, like in UK. I know it's really bad right now. And so, again, the UK especially should not be talking about, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Like, Jesus Christ, the UK is like the OG imperialist nation. Come on.
Your countries are being ruined. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it.
Did you see
now.
that guy's face?
See, I can tell you.
It's like,
I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. China and India are the primary funders of the ongoing war by continuing to purchase Russian oil. They're funding the war against themselves. Who the hell ever heard of that one? In the event that Russia is not ready to make a deal to end the war, then the United States is fully prepared to impose a very strong round of powerful tariffs. I have also been deeply engaged in seeking a ceasefire in Gaza. Have to get that done.
Yeah, no, he wants, no, he doesn't want that done. He doesn't want that done because actually right now there have been a couple different countries that have acknowledged Palestine as a state, and Spain and Italy are sending sending Navy ships to help the flotillas, because the flotillas that are going to Gaza to give them aid have been they've been, I don't know if they've been bombed, but they've been attacked a few times by Israel. And so he's saying this, but it's almost exactly like what Biden did. Biden was like, oh, we're working tirelessly on a ceasefire, and then never did it, never happened. And now he's doing the same thing. I'm like, no, you're not, dude. You're willing to do whatever Benjamin Netanyahu wants you to do. You don't care, because he eventually wants to, I think him and his son-in-law want to do like real estate ventures there and shit. And I think Elon Musk does too. It's crazy. It's insane. It's horrific. But he doesn't, like, he doesn't mean what he's saying, because now I think he truthed or whatever earlier, get all the hostages out. Even though I think Hamas was ready to sign a ceasefire deal the other day, and Israel was like, nope, we don't want to do that. Nope, sorry, not going to do that. And unless you released all of the hostages. But they literally said yes to like every other term. And they still were like, nope, we're not going to do it. And so they don't mean it. He doesn't mean it. It's not true. It's very frustrating.
Have to get it done. Unfortunately, Hamas has repeatedly rejected
That's a
reasonable
lie.
offers to make peace.
That's a
now,
lie.
as if to encourage continued conflict, some of this body is seeking to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state.
Yeah.
The rewards would be too great for Hamas terrorists.
This is what I'm saying. He doesn't mean it. He doesn't actually mean it. Like, he doesn't actually want to do anything that would help Gaza whatsoever. He doesn't mean it. He's just saying this shit, just like Biden said this shit.
Their atrocities. This would be a reward for these horrible atrocities. This climate change, it's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong.
No, they're not. And there's like it's just insane to me that he went up there and like went on this like diatribe about climate change, because dude, literally, things are getting worse. The climate is getting worse, and we're only going to make it worse. And that's like one of, I think, the biggest existential crisis that we have. And we don't pay attention to it because there's just like so much other crazy shit going on. But like, it is really terrifying that like we don't talk about that a lot anymore, because it really is a big existential crisis. And it's honestly only going to get worse because they're trying to build these data centers everywhere. They're literally trying to build a data center like very close to where I live in St. Louis, and it's very terrifying. And I've called the mayor, I've called my alderman, I've called the company that wants to do it, and apparently they're like, this land or whatever, this corporation owns this land or owns this plot or whatever, and so we like, the government doesn't have any oversight over it, and we have no regulations on data centers in St. Louis. And so they're kind of, this corporation is kind of just like free to do whatever they want, which is insane. But yeah, Liz, I don't want to talk about it because I'm honestly really scared. I'm so scared. Oh God. Oh, okay. Don't worry. I think the fact that humanity will live underground before the end of the century. No, I need my golds. I need my globes cooled. I don't think Josh Hawley cares. I'm not gonna. I mean, I have called Josh Hawley about certain things, but I don't think he cares. He certainly doesn't care about St. Louis, and he certainly does not care about St. Louis whatsoever. And I don't think he's gonna care about this. But they were able, in St. Charles, they were able to get rid of the data center. There was going to be a data center there in St. Charles, and they were able to mobilize against it. So I'm hoping we can do that in St. Louis. That's our only hope, really. So let's hope. Good vibes. If you are in St. Louis, if you know someone in St. Louis or Missouri or whatever, please call them. Call your alderman. Call the mayor. Let them know that we do not want this because it is not good for the environment. It's not good for the community. It's not good for anyone. It takes up tons of resources. There's a lot of instances where people get sick and get asthma and all these different things. And it's really, really bad for the environment and everyone in the community. And they typically do it in communities that are more rural or urban areas because they don't think that those communities can fight back or have the resources to fight back. So they typically do it in those areas, which is what they're trying to do now because we don't have any regulations on it now. And of course, our mayor is not doing anything. I knew she wasn't going to be shit, but hey. Anyway, let's get back to Trump. Sorry, I've just been really worried about that the last few days. Oh my God. Underground, I had my stocks in the mountain. Long term, I'm thinking maybe we can make an ocean platform viable if we had the engineers. Yeah, maybe. Oh God, it's an existential crisis and it's really terrifying, honestly. And well, that's the other thing. The oceans are also getting destroyed. Okay, then that's the scariest part. All right, that's the scariest part is the ocean because listen, there's already a lot of stuff happening down there that's not good. Like there are certain types of not animals, but I don't know how to explain it, but algae and stuff. I don't even know if it's that. I need to brush back up on that. But they're starting to dry up, which is not good, which is actually very detrimental to our whole entire ecosystem. But it just feels like nobody cares. It just feels like nobody cares because that's just such a big problem. And we have all these other big problems, that we have to put our attention on. So it's just, it's terrifying, honestly. But, the earth will still be here. We just won't. The water will be still there. No, exactly. The water will still be there. We'll still be here. But we won't still be here. The earth will still be here. The water will still be here. But we just won't, we just won't. But okay. Okay, let's finish this.
They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no
dude who can't say acetaminophen calling other people stupid. Okay.
no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, They actually said during
what? No, he's not. Famously, Mr. I can stop all these wars in a day. I can stop all these wars in a day. No, come on. Stop it. Stop it, bro. Come on.
the campaign, they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true.
No,
I've
you
been right.
No, you do, because you're a narcissist. And he's not, he has, when he says this, because I hear people in my life who are conservative say that, oh, well, he's right, isn't he? No. But no, he's not. But he's not. He's not though. So what? And why are you talking about your hats at the UN? We are so unserious. We are such an unserious nation. What are you saying right now?
Right about everything.
No,
and I'm
you're
telling
not.
you that if you don't get away from the green energy scam, your country is going to fail.
Bro, the only country failing is us. The only country failing is America, okay? That is the only country that is failing.
And if you don't stop people that you've never seen before, that you have nothing in common with, your country is going to fail.
Yeah, also, I thought we were toning down the rhetoric. I thought the rest of us had to just tone down the rhetoric. Tone down the rhetoric. He's saying people you have nothing in common with. Yeah, no, believe me. Me and you have more similarities with an immigrant than we do with a billionaire. Okay? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. All right, he's insane. He's like literally insane. He's like literally an insane person. Oh my God. Okay, everything is a Trump rally to him, honestly. Big platform to hawk merch on. The market decided the UN needs sponsored ads. Oh, okay. That was funny. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about God. Actually, we're gonna do something funny, and then we're gonna talk about something. Well, no, here. I have so many things open right now. We're gonna talk about Kamala Harris. Oh my God, I don't want to talk. I mean, I do want to talk about this. I'm just so mad. I listened to this and I was so mad. Kamala Harris calling Trump a communist dictator because in today's America, today's world, words mean nothing. Words mean absolutely nothing. And I've said this before. And I will say, oh, sorry, let me fix this real quick. Okay. Words mean absolutely nothing. And I've already seen like conservative memes online be like, oh, they call us they call us fascist, or oh God, I wish I remembered the meme. Oh, they call us fascist, but then Dems call themselves communists, but then they call Trump communist. And that makes me so mad because he's not a communist. He's not a communist. He's not a communist. He is a fascist. And again, words mean nothing anymore, okay? That's why I get frustrated when people on like the center are like, oh, I'm progressive. Okay, that means nothing anymore. That means nothing anymore. The word progressive means nothing anymore. Even the word fascist doesn't even really mean anything anymore. Words have no meaning anymore. And it's so frustrating, okay? He is not a communist. He is not a communist. But anyway, let's watch this. Let's watch this.
A tyrant. We used to compare the strength of our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now, Donald Trump. And these titans of industry are not speaking up.
Okay, listen. I'm so mad. I can't tell you how mad I am. I'm so mad. I am so mad. One, because Democrats, it's almost been a year, right? It's almost been a year. And they still have learned nothing. They have learned absolutely nothing. Later on in that interview, she goes on to talk about Zoran and says, well, he's the Democratic nominee. She won't like endorse him, but she'd be like, yeah, I want the Democratic nominee to win. And then says, oh, all these other people are also stars. All these other people are stars. And then the one lady she said who was a star lost her mayoral candidate. She lost her mayoral race. I am so mad. Like, I am so mad because they refuse to learn anything. They refuse to learn anything. And I don't understand this book tour. I don't understand this book. I don't understand any of it. I don't get it. I don't understand. And I'm so mad. I'm just so mad. Because why? Why are you trying to come back into the spotlight if you haven't learned anything? Why are you still being this centrist, like the almost right-wing Democrat? What's the purpose of this? What is the purpose of this? Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm so mad. I'm so mad right now. And I just like, yes, but not as the only viable option. Okay. Sorry. I was trying to read and respond. No, anyway, I'm just like so mad. And this isn't the only instance I'm mad at. I'm also mad at like Ezra Klein. Okay. I hate Ezra Klein. I'm not going to lie. Ezra Klein in a New York Times interview recently said that we need to elect or we need to run pro-life Democrats. He said that he was saying that the Democrats didn't learn from the election, not because they're going right wing and they're abandoning their base. No. They need to go more right wing and put pro-life Democrats up, because again, we live in hell. We live in hell. What do you mean? Like, I don't understand. I will never understand. And there are so many people who are like centrist or like liberals who keep blaming the left over and over and over again. They're still doing it. There's still people blaming the left. There are still people looking at the left and being like, this is your fault. This is your fault. She didn't win. Now they're calling, we're going to talk about this more in a second, but they're designating like Antifa as terrorists. Bro, they don't understand that they're a part of that too. That a lot of conservatives cannot see the difference between someone like me and someone like Kamala Harris or Pete Buttigieg or whatever. They think that we're all just like communists, like whatever, extremists, whatever. That's what they think. And so they are going to go after everyone. They're going to go after everyone. They're not going to be like, no, I'm not going to go against Ezra Klein because, he was kind of nice to me the other day. That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And so he can continue to do all this milquetoast reporting now. He can continue to do this, but it's not going to save him. It's not going to save him from this government. It's not going to save him from any type of censorship. It is not going to save him. And so for Kamala Harris to sit here and call Donald Trump a communist, I'm telling you, is a choice. And it is, I don't know if it was on purpose, but hey, I'm just so frustrated with Democrats. I'm so frustrated with Democrats. And I tried to find this. I don't know if it was an article or it was a study, but it said that or if it was like a leak or something, but that Democrats are more worried about capitalism not being upheld than they are about fascism. And I just want to put that out there. I want to put that out there because a lot of the people like Ethan Klein, all these different people who want to come after Hassan or other leftists and say it's your fault. It's your fault because you dared to criticize the Democrats when they were doing poorly. You dared to point out what they should do better. You dared to do that. And now the Democrats lost. Here we are in the face of fascism. Here we are in the face of fascism, and almost every single Democrat has been throwing immigrants under the bus, throwing trans people under the bus. Not all. Chris Van Hollen is doing great things. AOC and Bernie, they're great. Zoran's great. Not all of them are horrible, but a lot of them are. And a lot of them are willing to throw their whole constituency under the bus just to keep getting their lobbying money, just to keep getting their corporate donor money. And they keep doing it over and over and over and over and over again. So how is it the lefties' fault that they lost? It's not. If they would have listened for once, if they would have listened to their constituency for once, then maybe we wouldn't be in this situation. But we're in this situation because they refuse to look at their constituencies. They refuse to look at their base and actually treat them with respect and actually listen to them and actually care what they have to say. They don't care. They are willing to throw everyone under the bus. They're willing to go as right as possible to get what? I don't know. And it's it's just frustrating. And that's why everyone's like, I get it. We would not be having a fascist takeover right now if Kamala Harris was president. I understand that. I understand that things wouldn't be just as bad. I understand that trans people would be in a much different position right now if Kamala Harris was president. But when I tell you that just because we wouldn't be having a fascist takeover doesn't mean that trans people would still not be getting villainized, because and I think even in her book, she's like, I support trans people, but I do have concerns over sports, of them playing in sports. This is what I'm saying. Like, they refuse to ever stand on anything. They refuse to ever stand their ground. They continuously bend the knee over and over and over again, and then wonder why their base hates them. Wonder why they always lose. And so I understand that it wouldn't be the same, and I understand that there are many people in this country that would be better off. I understand that. But something I always told my dad, or like was when I was talking to my dad, something I always said right before the election was, America is going to collapse. Like, we are, we're in a collapsing state. We're in a collapsing empire. It's been happening for a while now. We're in a collapsing empire. Whoever wins, it just depends on how fast it happens. If Trump wins, it's going to be a speed run, right? If Kamala wins, then, it's just going to take a bit longer. And I think that's I think that's the truth. And that's what I think. And that's my take on that. But I'm just like, and we're going to talk about Ethan. We're going to talk about Ethan drama on Sunday. I'm going to do more like drama, fun stuff on Sunday. And then this is going to be more like serious stuff. But him and just like Ezra Klein and all these other people who have been consistently going after the left and saying we're the ones that made this happen is so ridiculous. And I really just want to like scream it from the rooftops every day of my life, because it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And just because you want to act like you're different, just because you want to act like you're more sensible or center, that doesn't save you. That doesn't save you to be considered Antifa. That doesn't save you from anything. Okay? It doesn't. It won't. And it's not going to save you from anything that this regime is going to do. Okay. That was my rant for the day. That was my rant for the day. Okay. Ticket fascist light. No, exactly. Yeah, we need a new party because both parties are trash. Literally, and seriously, they're so weak. Kamala Harris couldn't even say Zohran Mamdani's name. I know! She couldn't even say his name! Like, it was such, like... It was just not, I don't know. And then she was like, oh, I didn't pick Pete Buttigieg, which, I mean, I don't think she should have picked Pete Buttigieg. But she didn't pick Pete Buttigieg because he was gay, which is a wild thing to say out loud. And I just, like, I'm just in disbelief. Like, I'm just in disbelief of how the Democrats are deciding to act. Like, it's obvious that they're more worried about upholding capitalism than they are fighting fascism. It's obvious. Like, it's completely obvious. And it's on display every day for the world to see. And I think most Democrats and most people on the left do understand that now and do get that they don't care and they're not working for us. And I think most people get that now. I think most people see it because it's obvious. It's so obvious. It's just like glaring you in the face that they just don't care about their constituents and their base at all, and they don't care about losing them. And which is gonna happen. And so Chuck Schumer was on another interview the other day, and they were asking him about like how they were going to win or what they were going to do because they're unpopular. And he's like, well, in all these special elections, the Democrats have won. It's like, yeah, because people don't like the fascism, okay? People don't like the fascism. But like when it comes to a general election, when it comes to like a bigger election, I don't think people are going to vote for you because they don't like you. They don't like you. They look at you. They look at someone like Chuck Schumer and they're like, what is this man going to do for me? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And so I could go on the soapbox all day. Because like I said, I need to get on Blue Sky because I'm normally on Threads, and let me tell you, there's a lot of people on Threads blaming the left for everything, which is so annoying. Okay, we're gonna do a funny thing, and then after we do this funny thing, we're going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel and free speech and all that stuff. So first, Donald Trump did a little redecorating in the White House. And and it's insane. It's actually kind of funny. But Donald Trump did a little redecorating. And let's see if I can move this. Okay. Make sure you all can see it. Okay. All right. So this is a video of the White House. Here, let's start this over. So this is the video of the White House. These are all the past presidents and their portraits. And then Joe Biden. They put an auto pen instead of Joe Biden. Oh my God, it's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. Oh my God, it's just so stupid. We're gonna talk about that later. The thread screenshot, that's actually, it's not real. People are just writing that. It's kind of silly, honestly, but we're gonna talk about that. But yeah, so Donald Trump remodeled, did some decorating, updated some decorating, and put Biden's portrait as the auto pen, because he always likes to go on this rant about how Biden used an auto pen and how he doesn't know if he actually, knew what he was signing and all this kind of stuff. It's funny. I'm not mad. It's funny. It's kind of funny. It's hilarious, honestly. I don't really care. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't really care. Biden is not my favorite person in the world, so I don't really care. But it is funny. All right. So like I said, now we're going to get into Jimmy Fallon coming back from being suspended. So, yeah. So, okay. All right. Let's talk about Jimmy Kimmel. So, Jimmy Kimmel was suspended last week, I believe. I feel like so many things have been happening so much that it's like, that happened last week, right? I don't know. I don't remember. Last week, Jimmy Kimmel got suspended indefinitely or whatever from ABC, and they took his show off air. Now, this is like a big conglomerate that owns all these different news companies. Like there's Sinclair, and then there's Nexstar, and then there's ABC and Disney. And Disney and ABC decided to bring Jimmy Kimmel back. But Nexstar, I don't think, has said anything yet. And then Sinclair, they're still blocking his show from certain places. Like they're blocking it in St. Louis. But yet he was back on. He was back on last night. And I watched the whole entire thing. And I gotta say, listen, listen, I don't know how to respond to this. I mean, it was okay. I don't know. I think it was really milquetoast. And I just think he could have been much more, I don't know. Look, I watched the whole thing, okay? I watched the whole entire monologue. And I just thought that it was, I don't know. I just thought it wasn't like, I didn't have enough oomph. Like, it felt like he was kind of bending the knee a bit, but a lot of people did not take that from this. Most people loved it. Most people thought he was being sincere and nice. And even Hassan was like, oh, well, you get more honey than vinegar. And like, I understand all that. I get it. And not that I expected more from Jimmy Kimmel or anything. I understand. But it's just like, I wanted him to come out swinging more a little bit instead of what happened. But he talked about censorship and all this stuff, and how when anybody else gets censored, we should like combat it even more and all this other kind of stuff. So, I mean, that was good, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just not normal enough. I feel like I feel like I have a problem sometimes because I am very I am online. I spend a lot of time by myself at home. And so I understand that sometimes I can be not normal sometimes. Okay. I have friends and I hang out with them outside of here and I do things with them, but even with them, sometimes I'm I gotta remind myself to be normal because other people are not keeping up with this stuff on a day-to-day basis, and that's why me and my dad talk about politics a lot because we both keep up with everything on a day-to-day basis. And so it's, it's fun to do that. But I have to remind myself that everybody else doesn't do that. And I'm just kind of like a freak. And so I'm sure everybody else loved it because he didn't apologize. He didn't say sorry, which I think I'm good for because I don't think there was anything to apologize for. But I was a little disappointed, and again, I was expecting to be disappointed. You got a huge problem list. It's called empathy. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I just it's hard for me to talk to people sometimes because they'll say something and I don't want to be rude, but I'm always like, man, why did you say that to me? Why did you say that to me? Because now I have to figure out how to correct you without being without sounding crazy. I don't know. Anyway, and it's a problem I have on a day-to-day basis. And so I guess that's just my issue. They talked to people after the show and everyone was like, oh, it was great. He didn't say sorry, but he still stood his ground and da-da-da-da. He thanked Candace Owens and Ted Cruz for saying that he didn't deserve to be taken off because of free speech. And so, hey, whatever. And I'm sure saying Candace Owens and saying Ted Cruz is a little dig to them, because... Because he's like, hey, see, these people supported me. So I'm sure that they did not like that. But, yeah. Yeah, Jimmy is pretty mild. That's his jam, which makes it so heinous he was fired in the first place. Honestly, no, really, seriously, because he is mild. And that's the whole thing. And, I'm not, I do watch the late night shows. I'm not, huge fans of them. But I do watch them. So I don't know. I mean, they're milquetoast. They all are. I think Seth is the best one. No. Wait, John Oliver's the best one, and then Seth, and then yeah. Okay. Stop signaling to others that you have virtue. Listen, when it's my family, I will correct them real fast, but when it's my friends or just other people I know, I gotta learn how to tone it down a bit sometimes, I gotta learn how to I don't know. He wants to fire the laughing alcoholic too. Wait, are you talking about Guillermo? I love Guillermo. He's great. Guillermo's really funny. He's awesome. But yeah, that's my take on Jimmy Kimmel. And so I wanted to talk about that because I also wanted to talk about Trump's response to Jimmy Kimmel, which is, I think, the most unhinged thing to come from all of this. The most unhinged thing I've ever seen in my life. And so I posted about it last night when it happened because I saw it on Threads and I saw it and I was like, surely this is not real. Surely this is not real because this is insane. Surely this is not real. No, it's real. No, it's real. It's real. They have been saying he has been saying insane things on his True Social lately. So yeah. Oh, Janine Pirro. Oh, Jimmy Fallon. Oh, I hate Jimmy Fallon. I don't watch Jimmy Fallon. I do not like Jimmy Fallon, which is so funny because so this is a funny story, but I went to Universal a few months ago and I went on the Jimmy Fallon ride and it was so funny because I'm not a fan of Jimmy Fallon. I actually don't like him at all because I think he's bending the knee a lot and I think he's purposely trying to not be as, whatever, because he doesn't want to get censored. And so I don't like Jimmy Kimmel at all. But when I went on his ride, we're in Florida. I was in the Universal Studios in Florida. Everyone was booing him. And for some reason, I felt I was I felt like they were booing him because he's more on the left. And so then I was like, I started cheering because I was like, F you, you know? There's me not being normal. That's evidence of it. And now I'm like, I should have just booed him because I don't like him either. But for some reason, I felt like I needed to like, I felt like I needed to like prove that I was not like, I wasn't booing him because I'm conservative, you know? Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, all right. So now let's look at Donald Trump's unhinged Truth Social about Jimmy Fallon. Ooh. Sorry. Moving things around. All right. Okay. So Donald Trump. So this is after. So he actually didn't respond for a while. And I actually think he responded. He did this like as it was playing or like right after it came out. And so he didn't respond until then. And I will say Jimmy Kimmel still went after Trump within his show, which is good. I'm glad he went after Trump. He went after Trump wholeheartedly. So I'm glad he's still doing that. But he said, I can't believe ABC fake news gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back. The White House, listen, the White House was told by ABC that his show was canceled. Something happened between then and now because his audience is gone and his talent was never there. Why would they want someone back who does so poorly, who's not funny, and who puts the network in jeopardy by playing 99% positive Democrat garbage? He is yet another arm of the DNC, and to the best of my knowledge, that would be a major illegal campaign contribution. I think we're going to test ABC out on this. Let's see how we do. Last time I went after them, they gave me $16 million. This one sounds even more lucrative. A true bunch of losers. Let Jimmy Kimmel rot in his bad ratings. Dude. This... Dude. This is like literally, he's just saying that he like went after ABC so he could just like out of pure spite just to get the money, and they gave it to him and they caved because they're stupid. And so of course he came after them again because caving to fascists are not going to save you. They're just going to keep coming for you if you don't stand your ground. And so he is admitting He's admitting that he doesn't want him on there. He's admitting that he's going after these places that he doesn't like. And he's admitting that he's going to try to essentially like is trying to extort them. That's the word, right? I don't know why I can't think of that. But because he doesn't want Jimmy Kimmel on TV. Like, it's insane. Like, this is honestly insane. It was so insane that I actually didn't believe it was real. Like, I've been having to go on True Social to make sure that some of the stuff he's saying is real. And it's like, so I'm like, okay, I gotta double check this to make sure it's real before I talk about it. No, it's real. It's real. This man just keeps, like, every day he wakes up and he becomes more unhinged. Every day he wakes up and he becomes more unhinged, and he just keeps saying the quiet part out loud, and it's really insane. And it's really insane. Like, it's actually insane. It was pure unfiltered delusion. Total delusion. Just like complete delusion. I don't like, who is letting him do this? He also had a truth the other day about Pam Bondi and trying to go after all of these people, and why aren't we going after them, and da 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 da. And then he had to delete it. Because it was just like him admitting that he's going after his political opponents, that he's seeking retribution, and that all these other lawyers couldn't find anything on them. But now the one lawyer who refused to go after like Comey or I forgot the other person, but refused to go after them, Letitia James, and refused to go after them because they couldn't find anything. And so they fired that person, and now they're bringing charges up against him. And so up against them. And so he had to delete that truth because he was basically admitting what he was doing and was getting mad at Pam Bondi. Because she like, I guess wasn't doing enough to make it happen. Truly unhinged, truly insane. This man, I don't know what to say. Like, this man is off his rocker. He's off his rocker. Like, he's off his rocker. All of the talk about, listen, I don't like Biden, I hate Biden, but all of the talk about him being like senile and insane and crazy, where is that now? This man can't say acetaminophen. He can't say acetaminophen. He can barely form sentences. He can barely form complete sentences. He goes on unhinged rants about the same thing in every single speech. In every single speech, this man goes on the same rant every single time. Every single day, in every single speech, it always goes back to the same things. So when are we going to look at him and say, he is also very old and probably senile. Okay, projection. Yeah, it totally is. I can't believe the American people gave Donald Trump his job back. Honestly, listen. I don't like the Democrats, but I certainly hate Donald Trump more. So, I mean, yeah. But talking about free speech, there was actually a tweet that I wanted to share because I do think it's important. The reason that I feel like I'm kind of like hard on Jimmy Fallon and like Democrats, and like, I get it. Listen, I lived out with the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing. I understand. But the free speech has been an issue even when Biden was in office. And this all, to me, started when Biden was going after campus protesters. And this is something, free speech and being able to protest and being able to boycott and doing all these things has not existed when it's against Israel for a long time. And so there have been numerous things that have happened against free speech in the past year, and no one really cared. Some people did, but a lot of the Democrats and liberals who give a shit now didn't care about then. And them not caring about people like Mahmoud Khalil or Romeza Ozturk, I think I'm saying that right. That's the reason where we're at right now, because we allowed them for those rights to get eroded then, and so now they feel emboldened enough to go after rich white men, and so I think we just need to remember that. And there's also a journalist that got fired from the Wall Street Journal. We're going to talk about that too, and so yes, all right, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so basically Seth Meyers and Jake Tapper, I hate Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper were talking about what happened to Jimmy Kimmel, and he says, it was pretty much the most direct infringement by the government on free speech that I've ever seen in my lifetime. And then this person says, Mahmoud Khalil was thrown in prison for 3 months for protesting Gaza, and the day ABC pulled Kimmel off the air for 2 episodes, a judge upheld Khalil's deportation. Romeza Ozturk was kidnapped off the street and imprisoned for writing an op-ed on Gaza. I feel like I'm going insane. And so I just wanted to point that out because I do think that especially when it comes to like Palestinian people who are pro-Palestinian and their speech has been, they like, people who are pro-Palestinian have not had like free speech at all, because almost every single social media platform tries to censor it and tries to like hide it in the algorithm. TikTok is being taken over by a bunch of Trump loyalists, and so now they said that they're going to retrain the algorithm, and they already started censoring pro-Palestinian, creators and posts. And so this has been a problem, and this did start under Biden. And I think a lot of people were very, they just didn't care. They were ready to be like, oh, well, whatever, because they're pro-Palestinian and not really give a shit, But when nobody, like when one person doesn't have free speech in this country, none of us do. So to sit here and to not care when it happens to them, but to care so much when it happens to Jimmy Kimmel is frustrating. But I do think that it's good. And I do think it's good that we're talking about this, because I don't think the Trump administration is going to stop. I don't think the government's going to stop trying to take away our right to speech. And we're going to talk about them labeling Antifa as a terrorist group and how that's definitely going to infringe on our First Amendment, particularly when it comes to protesting. And so we're going to talk about that. But I do think this has opened up a good discussion and has maybe rightfully woken up a lot of people to what's actually going on. So I still think it's a good thing that people are fighting back, and that we were able to like boycott. Like I canceled my Disney Plus subscription, and I'm probably going to call the Sinclair place here and talk. So even though like Jimmy Kimmel's not my favorite person in the world, I'm still going to do that because I do think it's important and I do think it matters. And so we just need to do it for everyone else as well. And so yeah, that's my thoughts on that. That's my thoughts on that. But let's see. Okay. That's my thoughts on that. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to share. There's actually... So Karen Atia, I think that's how you say her last name. So she was dropped by Washington Post. Oh, I was saying the Wall Street Journal. She was dropped by Washington Post after years of addressing political violence in race and gun culture. And so she was actually fired from Washington Post after social media posts about gun control and race in the aftermath of the far-right commenter Charlie Kirk's killing. And Atia 39 recounted in Substack post that she had been dropped as a Post columnist after 11 years for speaking out against political violence, racial double standards, and America's apathy towards guns. The post, she wrote, accused my measured Blue Sky post of being unacceptable, gross misconduct, and endangering of the physical safety of colleagues. Charges without evidence, which I reject, are completely false. They rushed to fire me without even a conversation. This was not only a hasty overreach, but a violation of the very standards of journalistic fairness and rigor the Post claims to uphold. And so I just wanted to talk about her because she also got fired after all the Charlie Kirk madness. And there have been a lot of just like regular normal people who've been getting fired. And I think that we should stand up for them just as much as you would for like a Jimmy Kimmel, because this is unacceptable. And I feel like, it's frustrating because the only good thing about this is like people like her will become more independent and probably will feel safer to be able to speak their mind and say what they want, just like people like Joy Reid or Waj or Mehdi. I think all of these people, they went independent and now they're speaking out about a lot more things than they were. And I think that's a good thing, but I also think it's troubling that the mainstream news sources are so right-wing. Not that they already weren't, but like they continue to keep skewing to the right, and they continue to and it's because all these billionaires and millionaires and big conglomerates own them, and so they don't want anything to interfere with their bottom line, and that's what they're about. And so they don't care about their employees. They don't care about their journalists being able to say what they need to say or even saying the truth. They would rather just get rid of them and try to save their bottom line. And I think it's atrocious. But I also wanted to mention her because I feel like there's a lot of people who've been fired, and I feel there's a lot of people that have been caught up in this that we don't talk about, and it wasn't just Jimmy Kimmel. But speaking of Charlie Kirk and crazy things that have transpired since then, the double standard between the left and the right when it comes to like acceptable speech or acceptable actions is crazy to me. It is such a double standard because, you know, you have people like Jimmy Kimmel and like Karen saying, I don't know what Karen said, but, you know, saying things that are not like, it's not outrageous, it's not divisive, it's not crazy as they're saying. And then you have people going to Starbucks and throwing a fit because they're apparently ordering Charlie Kirk's favorite drink or something. And if the barista doesn't react in a way they want, they're like throwing a fit. I saw this on Instagram, and so I wanted to share it. I think, listen, Charlie Kirk drink controversy. Starbucks employee forced to speak full name. So I guess if they don't say his full name, they get upset. So let's watch this.
Wild. Supporters of Charlie Kirk have started this strange ritual where they order what they're calling Charlie's drink, just a mint tea with 2 honeys. But the part that's blowing up online isn't the drink itself, it's what comes next. These customers are placing their orders under his full name, expecting baristas to call it out exactly. And if the barista only says Charlie instead of Charlie Kirk, supporters are storming up to the counter, yelling at staff, and in some cases even doxing them, trying to get workers fired for not announcing the full name. There are now videos circulating everywhere of baristas being screamed at over something as small as reading a cup order. It's escalated to the point where a simple tea order has turned into harassment. What we're watching is a new level of obsession.
Okay, I wonder if that's real. All things democracy, I don't know. This kind of looks like the person who's saying this looks like a little AI. I found this on Instagram, and I guess I didn't like look at it closely, but when her mouth was moving, it looked kind of weird. But I know this is like a trend now, and not just from this video, but I know there's a trend going around of people ordering Charlie Kirk's drink and then getting frustrated based on, if they don't call their name, or now Starbucks workers have to write like a affirmation on the cup, and apparently someone did write something on the cup that was like, oh, he's a racist or something, and that person got fired. But they're doing this, like they're specifically going to Starbucks to do this, and I think to antagonize baristas. And so it's wild to me because, again, the double standard is so crazy, and that's why I think it's frustrating for me to like want to like play nice or be nice about things, because when you have people out here that are purposely antagonizing you, who are going out of their way to antagonize you, going to your spaces. Like, I think there was a group of I saw on Threads earlier, a group of like conservatives that went to an HBCU and were trying to go in there and like start shit. Like, it's so frustrating because it's like they want to go to our spaces. They want to go to left-leaning spaces. They want to go to these, different community spaces. And then they want to get mad at people for just existing. They want to antagonize people for just existing. And it's so frustrating when everyone's like, well, we need to keep the temperature down. We're so divided. We need to not be so divided. What are you supposed to do when the person that you're supposed to like compromise with literally just wants to antagonize you every day and like will go out of their way to do it? Well, like the troll that was in here earlier. I don't understand people that come into chats or go to channels and comment on shit that they don't like. You don't have to like me. You don't have to watch me. You don't have to care. Okay? But like to go into someone's channel and write a comment because you don't like them. Like, I just don't understand. Like, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, it's so like, and that's why it's so frustrating. It's hard for me to be normal sometimes and like not want to immediately go to being like rude or mean or frustrated, because how are you supposed to react? How are you supposed to react when people specifically want to get you outraged? They specifically want to get you mad, and then when you get mad, they want to be like, oh, see, you're so emotional. Oh, soy, you're so soy. You're so emotional. Get a handle of your emotions. It's like, you came here. You're the one. You want to bully people and antagonize people every single day. And then when someone pushes back even just a little bit, you want to be like, oh my God, division. Oh my God, the violent rhetoric. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's just maddening. It's maddening. It's driving me crazy. And a lot of libs have been like, oh, well, we need to stop with the divisive rhetoric. Maybe we just need to come together and all this kind of stuff. And like, I don't want to be that person, but like, how are trans people supposed to come together with people who don't think that they should exist? How are queer people supposed to come together with people who want to erase their history and want to take away their rights? Like, I just don't I don't understand it, and I don't get it. And like, yes, I understand that not every regular person is like unhinged, you know, like the like Trump and Fox News, Fox News people. But still, like, I don't understand how we're supposed to sit here and just like be nice and stop being so divided when there's a population of people who just continue to want to oppress and look down on and eradicate other groups of people. Like, I just don't understand that. And so I don't know. It's something that I've been struggling with a lot recently, like in my personal life and just in like commentary and what to say. Cause I just get very frustrated and I get angry. And sometimes it's like, you know what? Like, if I'm being divisive, okay, fine. I'll be divisive then, because I mean, someone has to stand for something. Yeah, anyway. And I think maybe because a lot of people, and especially a lot of people who are on the left, I feel like, you know, lefties do this too, is we're like, okay, well, it's because of their material concerns. And if their material concerns were better, then they maybe would have a different opinion or it wouldn't matter as much. And I understand that to a point, but again, I have conservative family members, okay? And I've talked to them about a lot of this stuff, and I can tell you that they will vote against their own material interest, their own best interest, because they are racist or because they are transphobic. They will. And they may not admit it, but I think deep down they know a little bit. And so that's why sometimes I have trouble with like, oh, well, if we're just nicer, if we're just trying to come together, sometimes I have a problem with that. Because that's not always necessarily the case. And I understand that that's not everyone, but it's enough that I think they're just a group of people that it doesn't matter how much you actually want to help them. It doesn't matter how much you actually want to improve their conditions. They're still going to not like you, either because of the color of your skin or because of your sexual orientation or because of your gender. And that's just the truth. And I mean, and maybe, and you know, listen, maybe those people can change. Maybe those people can learn and get themselves out of that. I'm not saying that everyone's just like doomed, but yeah, I don't know. That's just how I feel. And so I have been struggling with that a lot because I know that's the new meta. That's the new talking point as well. We just need to come together. We need to stop being so divided. And I think for marginalized communities, that's just like, that's a lot to ask of them. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot to ask of them. Especially trans people who are being demonized like every day. And how are they supposed to come together with people who literally just want to call them terrorists? Like, I don't understand. Anyway, speaking of that, speaking of being called a terrorist, the Trump administration has now labeled Antifa as a terrorist because, again, we are living in hell. So we'll look at this executive order real quick. You don't understand. Her life is awesome. Oh my gosh. Love that for you. Thank you. Yeah, it's listen. I have a lot of issues. Okay. Sorry, that's my little outline. Okay. So this is the White House. This is what the White House said. So they designated Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. Now, this has gotten worse. Because there was a shooting at an ICE facility today. And actually, I'll show you what that looks like. So, no, let's see. Oh, here we go. So there was a shooting at an ICE facility today. And none of the ICE employees or none of the ICE, whatever, Gestapo. None of them were hurt. But I think it was 3 detainees were injured. So two are in critical condition and 1 has died. And then the person who did this also died. And this is what the FBI posted. Now look, we don't know. I don't know. Okay, sorry, my nose itches. I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to talk about this that much because I don't know who did it. I don't know their ideology. I don't know. I don't trust anything the FBI says. I got to be completely honest. But we don't know. I don't know. I don't really trust this, but we don't know. And I made that mistake with the whole Charlie Kirk thing. So we don't know. It's too soon to know. And I don't trust the FBI. But this is what apparently it said anti-ice on one of the bullets. I find it interesting that it's in pen. I find it interesting that it's just on 1. I find it interesting is all I got to say. I find it a little suspicious. I think most people do. But it's only heightened the rhetoric today. So today the rhetoric has completely heightened and we are all Antifa terrorists, all right? And so yeah. Okay, wait, I just want to read this real quick. Pro-Palestinian people tried to come together at the Dem convention and got slapped in the face. Exactly. Fascist crackdown on anti-fascists and shock twist. Yeah, that's the other thing about like Kamala Harris calling him a communist. Like he's literally going after anti-fascists. Like, what are we saying? Like, why can't words just have meaning? What are we doing? But anyway, so that happened today. And because that happened today, the rhetoric has gotten way more extreme. It's getting even more extreme because it's just what life is. But this is what the White House did. So Donald Trump designated Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. And this was on September 22nd, 2025. So Antifa is a terrorist threat. Antifa is a militaristic I had dinner before this. Okay. Antifa is a militarist and anarchist enterprise that explicitly calls for the overthrow of the United States government, law enforcement authorities, and our system of law. It uses illegal means to organize and execute a campaign of violence and terrorism nationwide to accomplish these goals. This campaign involves coordinated efforts to obstruct enforcement in federal laws through armed standoffs with law enforcement. This is all just insane. Organized riots, violent assaults on immigration and customs enforcement and other law enforcement officers, and routine doxing of and other threats against political figures and activists. Antifa recruits, trains, and radicalizes young Americans to engage in this violence and suppression of political activity, then employs elaborate means and mechanisms to shield the identities of its operatives. No, that's literally just saying that like you can't find an organized group because it doesn't exist. Anyway, suppression. Oh, okay. They then employs elaborate means and mechanisms to shield the identities of its operatives, conceal its funding sources and operations in effort to frustrate lives. No, I think they're just frustrated because they don't have proof for their propaganda. So now they're like, no, they're doing this. We promise that they're doing this. They're just doing it in really, really elaborate means to frustrate us. Okay. Oh my God. Individuals associated with and acting on behalf of Antifa further coordinate with other original organizations and entities for the purpose of spreading, fomenting, and advancing political violence and suppressing lawful political speech. This organized effort designed to achieve policy objectives by coercion. Now I'm the one that can't say words. Coercion and intimidation is domestic terrorism. Okay, so this order shall be published in the Federal Register. Okay, so this is actually pretty short. Let's read the rest of this. Section 2, designation as a domestic terrorist organization. Because of the aforementioned pattern of political violence designed to suppress lawful political activity and obstruct the rule of law, I hereby designate Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. All relevant executive departments and agencies shall utilize all applicable authorities to investigate, disrupt, and dismantle any and all illegal operations, especially those involving terrorist actions conducted by Antifa or any person claiming to act on behalf of Antifa, or for which Antifa or any other person claiming to act on behalf of Antifa. What is this? Not just saying the same thing. What is this? What is this sentence? Conducted by Antifa or any person claiming to act on the behalf of Antifa, or for which Antifa or any conducted by Antifa or any person. Okay, this is not just me, right? This is like weird. Or any person claiming to act on behalf of Antifa provided material support, including necessary investigatory and prosecutorial actions against those who fund such operations. This order shall be implemented consistent with applicable law. This order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit substantive or procedural enforceable at law or in equity by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities, its officer, employees, agents, or any other person. Okay, I guess we didn't have to read those other two ones because they didn't really mean anything. I think they were just legal speak. Anyway, so they have designated Antifa a domestic terrorist organization, and this is very concerning. And it's very concerning on so many levels because basically they're just saying anyone who we deem as Antifa is Antifa. And Antifa is not an organized group. It's not like a structured group. There's no collaborating. And it's really funny that they do this because like even here in St. Louis, I've gone to a ton of different protests. I know a lot of different organizers, and like the different groups here in St. Louis, they don't even come to some of them come together and collaborate, but then some of them don't like each other, and some of them are not on good terms with each other and stuff like that. And I don't know the drama. I don't know. Apparently there's drama. I don't know it, but it's funny to me because I'm a lot of conservatives watch Fox News, like my family, and they just think Antifa is this big shadowy group, this big organization. And I've had to literally explain to them, I'm like, look, I go to these protests, I go to them. I know a lot of local organizers, I've been to all the different things, and I can tell you right now that it is not centrally located. It is not this big group. There's just different groups that do protests, that do organization, that do community outreach. And sometimes they collaborate, sometimes they don't. And sometimes, people like one person's, or activism. And then sometimes people don't like that person's activism. There are so many different groups. And they're all little, and none of them are connected, and none of them are organized, this big organized group. That's just not how this works. And so it's funny to me. Well, it's not funny. It's actually terrifying at this point. But before, it was funny to me because people, I would be telling my parents this, or I'd be telling my family this, and they still wouldn't believe me. I'm like, you've seen me. I go do this. I go to these protests. I know all these people. So how do you not believe me? And they literally thought when I went to the No Kings protest, they literally asked me, they were like, oh, well, did you see the signs? Was anybody getting paid? Do you know, did people know why they were there? Because I guess Fox News was saying, oh, no one understood why they were even protesting. What? I'm like, yeah, no, everyone knew why they were there. Everyone was very aware of why we were there. What? It was so weird to me, and they literally thought people were getting paid. And I'm like, bro, again, I go to these protests, okay? Don't you think, I'm not getting paid to go? Don't you think you would know that? It's so funny because they just don't believe me. They don't believe me, and I just don't understand. It's so weird. Elaborate face mask. Yeah, it's so weird. It's just so strange, and it doesn't make any sense to me, but they're going after Antifa, and after today, Donald Trump that's said that he was going to go after, he was going to do another executive order, and I forgot what it was, but they're going to keep doing this. This shit's only going to get worse. And I think that we are in an interesting point in history, which is why I think it's really convenient that today they said like anti-ICE or whatever, even though I've never heard anyone say anti-ICE. We don't know. I don't want to guess. I don't want to assume, but it's just very convenient that all of this is happening while they're trying to do this. And maybe they were anti-ICE. I don't know, but it's definitely terrifying. And I don't know. We'll see where this goes. I'm gonna still go out and protest, though. I'll be out there for the next No Kings one. I'm gonna still go protest. I'm still gonna call and send letters and send emails, and I don't care. So they're not gonna shut me up anyway. Not gonna shut me up, but I like to yap too much. I'm not going to shut up. But we were talking about earlier, so on Threads, there's actually this thing where it says this user is suspected of being a part of a terrorist organization called Antifa. Please report any suspicious behavior. I wanted to talk about this because I was seeing this on Threads too, and I think a lot of people thought this was real. I don't think it's real. I think people have been adding that on their own, so I don't think Meta's actually doing that. Because this person was like, hey, this isn't Meta doing it, though. Yeah, we all know there's a lot of censoring happening on here. This is people adding it themselves. Just wanted to point that out so people don't get too scared to talk, because I don't think this is real. And I know I haven't looked. Yeah, there are people. Okay, yeah, there are people who were saying, I don't know, there are people like, don't do it, that's not funny, like we don't need to give them ideas, which we don't need to give them ideas, honestly. But yeah, I don't think that's real, but it is, but everyone's using it on Threads. If you just scroll through Threads, you'll see this everywhere. But it is not real. It is not a real thing, thank goodness, but who knows, who knows, we might get there one day. Something else that I thought was funny, and then we're going to close out with a video of Candace. We're going to close out on something funny because we need funny things in our life. But before we get into that, I just want to tell a story because it's with this Antifa stuff. So I went to the grocery store the other day, and there was flyers all around like the Central West End in St. Louis. And they were flyers of like, if you're queer and you're scared, we can teach you how to get your firearms license and like how to use a firearm and everything like that. And there was like a QR code that you could scan. I didn't scan it because I'm like worried that it's not real and it's like trying to like catch people or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm too paranoid, but I'm sure it might be real. And it's actually to help people. And I'm not like, listen, I hate guns and I am against guns, but I get that like some people feel the need to do that, especially in those groups, especially in like marginalized groups, to feel safe because things are getting increasingly like violent and scary. But I saw those and I thought it was a psyop for a second because I was like, I don't know. But I don't know if it is. But the funny part was I didn't even know. So I was driving to the grocery store, and I saw this guy with a Washington. He was with a Washington shirt on, right? And with a George Washington shirt on. And he's going around the Central West End just pulling down flyers. And I was like slowly driving. I was like, what is this guy doing? And he was pulling down these flyers. And I was like, oh my God, I need to see what one of those flyers say. Because I'm like, obviously this guy doesn't want people to see them. And so I went and I looked, and that's what it was for. And so this guy with the George Washington shirt on was pulling down all the flyers. I was like, it's so frustrating. I'm like, okay, dude, you didn't have to do that. But I'm sure he's probably like, oh, Antifa. I'm sure he's a patriot. Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the reason why I wanted to say it, because it's another double standard. It's like, okay, so you can be the gun guys. You all can have all the guns. You can have like the Atlantic came out with a thing today saying, oh, left-wing terrorism is becoming more rampant or whatever. When not true. And right-wing domestic terrorism is like domestic terrorism. The main people who do it are people on the right wing, are people with right conservative ideologies. And that is proven. And that is a study that has happened, but they took it off the FBI website, but it doesn't matter because those are facts. And, but it doesn't matter. So they took it off. And now, you have people like this man taking down flyers, and I'm like, okay, so you guys can have the monopoly on violence, you can have the monopoly on guns, you can have the monopoly on whatever, and we just have to deal with it. Like they can't learn how to protect themselves. They can't use their Second Amendment. Why not? You want to use your Second Amendment. Why can't they? Not to do anything crazy. I'm not saying that, but just to have that ability if they need to protect themselves. Which I am very uncomfortable. I'm just uncomfortable with guns and everything, just generally. I've never really been around them, so I'm very uncomfortable with them. But yeah, that was just a wild thing that I saw the other day, and I wanted to mention it because I thought it was wild. I saw one of those on the ground. Yeah, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. We also have, I think there's like a communist group here as well, and there's all these communist flyers everywhere, and then you can tell when people get mad because they'll try to like tear it down, or some people try to like scratch it out. I see that everywhere, and it's really funny to me. I'm like, okay, man, okay. Like they come to a place like the Grove or something, and then they get mad at all the like leftist shit that's everywhere, And I'm like, okay, bro, like maybe if you don't like it, maybe you should just not come down here. I don't know. Cause I mean, come on, man. The Grove is a like gayborhood, so that's why I'm saying, like, and it's funny because there are some people. I was wearing a shirt the other day in my building that said immigrants aren't criminals, but the president is. And I got this like dirty look from this girl. And I don't really know anybody in my building. I'm not a big like socializer, but she just gave me this like dirty look. And I was like, oh, and then I thought about it. I'm like, okay, so if you're conservative, why are you living in like a gayborhood? Like, why are you living here? Like, why are you around here? Like, what? Doesn't make sense to me. Is Halloween going to be crazy this year? Oh, probably. Send me one of those commie ones, please. Yeah. I'll have to post it on my post. I don't know. They're everywhere. But okay, so I just thought that was a funny story that I wanted to tell. But now we're gonna end on a funny note today. We're gonna watch Candace Owens continue to lose her shit, and yeah. We're gonna watch Candace Owens continue to lose her shit because I find that funny. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so Candace Owens is still losing her mind. And, it's funny because, like, out of all of the people, Candace Owens is the one I only, like, kind of feel bad for, because I think you can tell that she, like, actually is, like, really mourning and, like, is really distraught of all of this. And so she's the only one that I'm just kind of like, well, I mean, I guess, she's just going through it. It's just like her way of grieving. I don't know, the different steps of grief. But I do want to talk about it because I feel like a lot of people, I've seen this on Threads again. I need to get on Blue Sky, but I've seen a lot of people like on Threads talk about how like, oh, Candace Owens is finally seeing the light. Tucker Carlson, all these people are finally seeing the light, and da 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 da. Please do not give them the benefit of the doubt, okay? Because the more Candace runs with this crazy shit, the more I'm like, okay, she's milking it too. The more I'm like, okay, she's taking advantage of this news narrative as well. And so I don't know. But today apparently she said that the shooter was coming from the ground and was not coming from the top, was not coming from the roof, and that there was like a trap door or something. And so now there are literally people on threads saying, oh, Candace Owens just debunked everything. I don't think she did. Okay. I don't think she did. All right. And listen, like, I know there's a lot of stuff going on. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories, but like, let's not start following Candace Owens, okay? Let's not be like, oh, Candace Owens. No, come on. We still gotta have some, you know, I don't know. We still need to have some critical thinking, okay? Let's not just believe whatever Candace Owens says, all right? All right. Okay, so let's listen to what she has to say.
There was a massive pipeline that was almost exactly behind where Charlie was sitting. Here's that maybe it's a water pipeline, I don't know, but there it is under the flag. And to your right, I went into my tips line and I saw that somebody had messaged me about this. More than one person messaged me about this. They're like, hey, yeah, there's like a whole underground thing there. And to your right, you're observing those two little boxes, and they told me that was a trap door. Now, I'm not...
Okay, but how do these people know? Well, like, I want to know who are these people that are saying it's a trap door, number one. How do they know it's a trap door, number two? Okay, I don't know, man.
Implying someone, you know, popped up and shot Charlie, but that's a...
Wait, is this... Wait, is this a real picture?
Close up of that area. I'm just implying that there's an entire underground there. And I remember when I looked at the footage, I felt like it was coming up. I don't know anything about ballistics. I'm not an expert. But if there was a hatch door nearby, then we can assume, as we should always assume with colleges, obviously stadiums, there's always an underground path.
Is there? Is there? I know there is. I know Disney has a whole entire underground. I know that. But I don't. Do colleges have that? I don't think my college had that. Actually, no, I lied. My college had that for more sinister reasons. Actually, so I went to a college in Tennessee, and it literally used to be like I don't know if it was there was like one lady who owned it, and she owned it for like the longest time. And I think she did have slaves, and this was in Tennessee, and there was like by like the tower, there's like this big tower, this big church tower thing. And there was like this tunnel, and there was like this grid that you could, take you could take the little grid thing off, and then it was like a tunnel. So actually, no, my college did have that, but it wasn't for the reasons I think she's saying. It was for much more sinister reasons, because it was in the South, because my college was in the South. And so there's that not fun history. There's that not fun history, but I remember seeing that and being like, oh my God, this is an insane thing to see. Just like right in front of me. Yeah. Anyway.
So I'm wondering if the federal government has explored the possibility that somebody could have been under Charlie and done that, while everyone's looking around and thinking that a shot went off from here, if that was just maybe like decoy number 2, and actually Charlie was shot from beneath him, which then could maybe explain why there was no exit wound. Again, I'm theorizing because I have a right to. I have a right to think. And
I mean, I can't tell her she can't do it. I mean, I can't say, oh, no. I just think this has all gotten out of hand. And I think the conspiracy theories are only going to get crazier. I think as this goes on, this shit is only going to get crazier. And I don't think it's because it's this elaborate conspiracy. I think it's just because Kash Patel is incompetent. I think Kash Patel is incompetent and no one has faith in him to do this. He does not know how to do his job. And so I don't think we're ever going to have like an answer, or I don't think we're ever going to have like a concrete thing, because he's incompetent, and the amount of mistakes that they made just in the beginning of all of this makes people not trust him. And so now anytime something happens, I think things are just going to get more insane, and people are just going to be more insane, and there's just going to be even more conspiracy theories because no one can trust Kash Patel. Because everyone thinks he's incompetent. Oh my God, it's actually insane. It's actually insane. It's actually insane. Okay.
And that is interesting to me. Where does it go? Where do the tunnels underneath UVU lead to, right? That's an interesting question. Maybe everyone's looking up when we should be looking below.
I just thought that was funny. I just thought, oh, now she's talking. Yeah, we're not going to look at that because now she's talking about Bridget McCrow. Oh my God. See, and that's why we should not give Candace Owens the benefit of the doubt. Okay, we should not give Candace Owens the benefit of the doubt by any means, because she is literally being sued. She is literally being sued by the French president right now because she has been doing an investigation on his wife. She has been transvestigating his wife. His wife literally had to take a picture of her privates to prove that she is not trans, which is insane, which is like just an insane thing to even like care about or to have to do. Just insane. Like, she's an insane person. Okay. So like, let's not give her any kind of like benefit of the doubt. Okay. Because that is truly just psychotic behavior. And, it's not okay. It's not okay to do that. It's not okay to do that. So just, anytime someone wants to like give her the benefit of the doubt, let's just remember her transphobia. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Like I said, Kash sucks. Yeah, he does suck. And I think this is just going to be a reoccurring issue that we have, because even today with the shooting, well, I mean, the bullets are a little weird. I'm sorry. They're just a little weird. The whole anti-ice thing in like Penn is just weird. All right. It's weird. But it's just like now, anytime the FBI is involved, just immediately, even people on the right, immediately no one believes them. Immediately, everyone is like, yeah, no. Yeah, no. Even people on the right, which is why it's just like, I think shit's just going to keep getting crazier, because the more things like this happen and Kash Patel's in charge, the more people are going to go insane and just be like, come up with all these theories because no one can trust him. Yeah, that was funny. Okay, well, that's where I wanted to end it off today. Thank you everyone so much for joining. I go live every Sunday and Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I'm gonna do Wednesdays more of like news heavy, and then Sundays more like fun drama heavy. So that's the plan, and I'm saying that out loud so I can stay consistent to that plan. Because like I said, I have ADHD and it's hard for me to stay consistent sometimes. So I'm saying it out loud, and that's what we're doing, and we're going to stick to it. Okay. Because I think I've been confusing the algorithm by not being like consistent on things. But anyway, not that you all care about that. Just, needed to say it out loud. But yeah, Trump creates a perfect environment to create conspiracies. Yeah, no, I think every single person that he's hired also do. Well, I mean, Kash Patel himself is a conspiracy theorist, and his whole entire, everyone who wanted him to be in this position are conspiracy theorists. So it's kind of funny that now his whole base, everyone who like watched his podcast, are now like doing the conspiracy theories against him because now he's the one in charge. He's the establishment. And I know he doesn't want to be. And that's why he had to tweet out, oh, we're looking into everything. We're looking into all the different theories and we're going to figure it out. Dude, like he's probably literally going to look into this theory from Candace Owens. He's probably literally going to do that because now he's like, well, eventually when I don't have this position anymore and I go back to podcasting, he still wants to have a base, you know? And again, I say this every time, but where's Dan Bongino? Where's Dan Bongino? He seems to have disappeared. Where did he go? Where's Dan Bongino? I want to ask that question every time. Where did he go? Where did he go? Thank you for this stream. Thanks for your volume. Is that bad? Is my volume bad? Was it too loud? Now I'm nervous. Was it bad? It wasn't echoey this time, thank goodness. I think I fixed that. I always have audio, just leftist audio, man. Leftist tech is an issue, I swear. Thank you for the stream. Thank you. Oh no, you're good. Don't worry about it. I'm going to leave this up. I'm still probably going to clip it up. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what works for me. It's hard. It's hard doing this alone. It's hard doing this alone. And so I'm trying to figure out how to, I'm trying to keep up with everybody else, but it's hard to grow on YouTube, even though I'm trying. No, you were speaking how you won't be silent in your oh, thank you. Yes. No, I'm not going to be silent. I got to say, I've always just been very loud about my opinions, even the wrong ones, and I just always have been, and I've always been very stubborn, and I've always had, an aversion to authority as well. And so, I'm gonna be loud and annoying and speak my mind, and I don't really care. I don't really care. If people don't like me, oh well, fuck it. All right, well, that's gonna be the stream today. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to my members, Troy Roberto, Queen of Daydreams, Crystal Saphira, saw you in the chat today, hello. And then Creflo, thank you all so much for being members. Seriously, you helped me out so much. I'm actually going to post a new member video on Saturday, and it's going to be my reaction to Eddington. So if you want to see that, become a member. And you'll be able to see my reaction to Eddington. And yes, thank you all so much. Thank you all for coming. And I will see you on Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, see you guys later. Love you. Bye.